Karnataka High Court is set to deliver its verdict regarding a writ petition filed by RTI activist Snehamayi Krishna seeking the transfer of the MUDA site allocation case to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Case involves allegations against the Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, specifically regarding the illegal allocation of 14 sites to his wife Parvati BM by the MUDA. Now, matter has been under judicial review for several hearings, and today's decision is expected to provide clarity on whether the case will be handed over to the CBI for further investigation or not. With that, to speak on this very matter, I have with me my colleague Gautam Shankar joining us live, as well as political analyst Professor Chambi Puranik. Professor Puranik, a very good morning to you. In fact, good morning to both you gentlemen joining us on the show today. Professor Puranik, I would want to come to you firstly. You know, a crucial day in Karnataka with quite a few important judgments to be delivered, but this particular MUDA case that we are speaking of, whether the case will be transferred to CBI on the entire report that has been submitted. Only a few days back we had seen the Lokayukta report also being submitted in sealed covers to the court. What would you say from your expertise are we expecting today?
Well, Shreya, this particular scam, our chief minister, very popular chief minister who has, been liked by everybody, but he has been, under the eye of a storm of having, got allotted 3.5 acres of land for a paltry sum of 2,40,000, 40 lakhs, for 2,40,000. So that means to say, from 2,40,000 to 58 crores, which he himself demanded in the assembly as compensation if the sites are returned, the 14 sites are returned to MUDA. That itself shows there is a kind of cloud of suspicion that is there, which has not been inquired properly. And also, the 50-50 ratio was done when he was deputy chief minister, and also later the advantage or whatever the kind of abuse that was done by his followers and other politicians, many powerful people, real estate people and all that, it has led to 1,300 crores scam. Whereas, the starting point was only 3.2 next. Second thing is making denotification and acquiring the land. All this has been going on. It is not the only chief minister who has done. Mr. Yediyurappa also has been guilty of this, and the case was there. Somehow the case is pending and all that. So that means to say, in order to get out of this kind of whatever suspicion or allegations, there is a need for an inquiry. Lokayukta inquiry is going on, but people say because Lokayukta comes under chief minister, it will not give a verdict which is against chief minister. That's one. Number two, Desai, judge who is under also cloud and allegations of many other things, he is also investigating this particular case. That means to say two are in favor of them. So now ED has entered. ED's point comes only because of money laundering. Now the CBI comes in terms of corruption. So the corruption angle has to be looked into directly or indirectly. He has been in power. Even if he was in opposition leader or the leader of the opposition, he has also held a high position. That is also a constitutional post, responsible post. So means to say that his influence cannot be ruled out. That connivance, that particular thing has to be looked into in order to get out of this particular kind of suspicion or whatever the allegations that chief minister is facing. I think it will be fair on the part of not only Siddaramaiah, but on the part of our people of Karnataka who have held him in high esteem. Such things should not happen. If he is an ordinary person, things would have been different. The very fact that he has returned 14 sites back to MUDA itself shows there is a kind of guilt. He has realized that there is a big lapse on that. And having taken advantage of his benefit, the other people who have gone, as I said, 1,300 sites have been misused, and the ED has seized them. Now, all this Shreya shows there is a need for some kind of clarification, which you started in the beginning, and today is going to be the judgment. If it perhaps, in my guess, CBI may be allowed to go ahead with this because there are multiple kind of angles in which this has to be done, and it has to be shown as a kind of lesson, role model, or whatever the verdict that Supreme Court or High Court or Judiciary, anybody for that matter, has to come out clean on this also, in order to see that the propriety and the positions such top leaders hold, they should be people who are above suspicion. That's why Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. And this suspicion is lingering on. And people of Karnataka and also the general public want to know whether Chief Minister is guilty or not. That's all the kind of observation I can make on this.
Right, Professor. Let me just cut across to my colleague Gautam at this given point. Gautam, from the last implications, or rather information that we had with regards to the Lokayukta report, it was very suggestive of the fact that probably the Chief Minister is not at fault. But right after this, we see an appeal being made to the court or a writ petition being filed with regards to the case to be transferred to the CBI. Based on whatever information we have about the investigation so far, what are the chances that this case does actually get transferred to the CBI today?
Absolutely, Shreya. So the case here pertains to the MUDA land scam. Now, the petitioner in this case, Snehamayi Krishna, had objected to exactly that this ongoing probe by the Lokayukta can be influenced by the Karnataka government, and which is why he is seeking a CBI investigation into this case as well. Now, I just want to take the viewers back to January 27th when arguments were made in this case. The High Court had indicated that it would look at the report of the Lokayukta and decide on the plea for the CBI probe, and that the decision is going to be prerogative of the trial court and not the Karnataka High Court. So, what was given to the trial court, the investigation report by the Lokayukta, that is what is going to be looked at here. But uh, 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 we've already looked at here as well that Siddaramaiah is looking at trouble from multiple fronts. It's not just the Lokayukta probe here. Now we also have the ED case also that he finds himself enamored in. Now the ED has named Karnataka CM Siddaramaiah and his family members, and they have named his name as well in the investigation report. But keep in mind that this is secondary. This is not really related to the probe here, but the trouble will not be over for Siddaramaiah even if the case is not given to CBI, and if he does, Lokayukta is allowed to continue to probe this matter, because the ED is conducting its own investigation into what they are calling as large-scale irregularities as well, and they are particularly looking at the denotification of this government-acquired land and the fraudulent conversion. So the trouble may not be over today, even if he does indeed get a clean sheet here, Shreya.
Absolutely. Taking on that point, Professor Puranik, I would want to come to you. The ED has been conducting its simultaneous investigation so far. It's named the Chief Minister, his wife Parvati, as well as Parvati's brother in this entire matter. And despite that, so far, there isn't any particular report as to what has been done so far with regards to the investigation or where the investigation has reached. So even if today we see a clean sheet for Siddaramaiah, the ED's investigation still continues in the matter. Just help us understand this entire plea with regards to a CBI inquiry to be done into the MUDA scam. Would you not call it a move or a plea coming in a tad bit late, given that the Lokayukta has already submitted its report, and there were reports that yes, the Lokayukta might be influenced by the Karnataka government?
No, the very fact that the same judge is looking into it, today in Dharwad, the same judge, he is going to look into this. The very judge has given permission to go ahead and conduct an inquiry, and he says that because when the governor's order was questioned, the same judge said, looking into all aspects of the case and the kind of direct and indirect influences, and there is corroborative in the evidence to show that there is an indirect influence of the Chief Minister. Whether you are directly involved or not, abetting itself is a crime. So that's one thing. Second thing is, any inquiry or whatever the kind of probe should not be an eye wash. That's why there is need for such a kind of impartial and a very judicious kind of inquiry that is going on. So multiple angles, whatever Justice Desai, Lokayukta, all of them come under the state government. So that means to say people and many knowledgeable people say that's not going to be fair also. So in order to overcome this, I think from the point of view of justice and also from the point of view of clarity on Chief Minister's position, whether he is guilty or not, because the 50-50 order was withdrawn when he was Chief Minister. When he was not Chief Minister, 60-40 order was in force. So it means say there is a kind of influence or somebody who is close to Chief Minister has misled. So by taking advantage of this paltry small parcel of land of 3.2 acres, these other people have taken advantage. So it's a bigger scandal that's going to be unfolded. And I think, in the interest of justice and also for the people of Karnataka, because you will not give paltry sum as a compensation for acquiring land or whatever the government acquires the property of private people. It's a market price. So in order to say, the Chief Minister himself in the Assembly said, if you give 58 crores, I will return this 14 sites. So that means to say there is a kind of suspicion. The need of suspicion lies on the Chief Minister himself. But in order to overcome this, I think he should also agree or should feel happy if the CBI inquiry or ED inquiry. But to say that CBI and ED inquiry comes under the central government, there is a kind of political vendetta and all that. I don't think the courts will be influenced by that. The courts have to look into the legal aspects. And today, when the judgment is given by the same judge who has also permitted for this kind of prosecution to go ahead, I think, in all fairness, the judge may say that let there be CBI inquiry. Let pani ka pani, doodh ka doodh ho jaye. That could be, the way things may come. That's how I feel also.
Let things be cleared out and let the air be cleared out at its highest level in the judiciary, that is at this given point. But Professor, I would want to come to you with one last question. We're running out of time at this given point. The politics behind the MUDA scam as well. If indeed the CBI gets a green signal from the Karnataka High Court today, do you think the Congress is going to further its narrative, the narrative that they had started from day one, that this is a political vendetta where agencies are being used by certain parties to target them?
Definitely, that allegation against the central government or the CBI and ED being under the central government, I think they may attribute it all that. But ultimately, this matter will go to higher courts also, up to Supreme Court. I don't think the matter will end up here. But you should not come in the way of a fair probe. That is the main point today. As on today, the question of probe or inquiry has to be carried on. Whether it is carried on by CBI or ED, doesn't matter. But as you said, the Congress party and those who are in support of Chief Minister will say that this is a political vendetta. That's why this case is there. Just because Siddaramaiah is there, we should not say that. We should also respect.